about that today. Flip to reading instruction. Here, ready? We got some great tools for you for this one. So I have lots of examples of screencasts, and I usually do my screencasts with either Screencast-O-Matic or I'll do Camtasia. But Camtasia, you can get quite caught up into the video editing of it, and you have to be mindful of that when you're making your screencasts. You don't want to get lost into the time suck of editing and jazzing it up. So like if I'm making a quick screencast at school, I'm using Screencast-O-Matic on my Windows and then uploading it to YouTube and then archiving it there in YouTube and then putting that link into Edpuzzle, the LMS, whatever it may be. So I got links here for you to check out, and it's not Hollywood quality, so you don't have to be. Of course, Google Docs is really important when you're thinking about managing workflow especially. And if you're not using Google Classroom, I really recommend that you do, because you can absolutely take out all the mess of organizing student files with that. How many of you are using Google Classroom? Are you using it? Give me a yes or a no.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And then hypertext and hyperdocs. Like if you want to check out Lisa Highfield's Hyperdoc Handbook, it is a great resource for how to customize your Google Docs to make them look really pretty, and changing the background color, using tables to enhance the visual design can also enhance students' learning, because we've conditioned them with the blank white page. So when you give them something that's not a blank white page or not a typical black and white worksheet, you're kind of hooking them in easily. And of course, docs can be used anywhere on a device. So, you can train your students to slow down their vertical scrolling by reading on smartphones. And I have a lesson here that you can check out and take a look at. And you can also do those collaborative class assignments where they're annotating a text together and marking it up. I will always, on my documents, if we're doing a class collaborative document, do objectives at the top and then collaborative directions underneath. And then I'll have it segments, or like using the table of contents feature in Docs to do sections where I want them to navigate to work, and then highlighting and annotating the text and working together to find things. So this is a great tool again to also teach them too about not running over each other on Google Docs. LibriVox is great. It's online public domain books, and it is free, public domain. You can get them on Google Play, iTunes Play Store, and even search YouTube for stuff and practice listening skills on any device. And you can pair the LibriVox with a paper text, having them read along to, say, Shakespeare. Because again, Shakespeare was meant to be performed. It wasn't meant to be read on the static page. So we want to, you want to have students hear the words being said. Same thing with Dickens and Tale of Two Cities. I gave my students that text with the audiobook and the novel, and they were able to understand the language a little bit more and understand the tone, listening to someone read the words aloud to them. And of course, LibriVox can be used for whole class, group, individual listening activities, and it can be used on any device. So again, you can reach your students where they're at and teach them how to use those smartphones in an academic manner and not just, Snapchat selfies all the time. Edpuzzle, one thing I like to do with Edpuzzle is to make an interactive audiobook, and that checks student understanding while reading. So this is repurposing Edpuzzle. So what I did was I took The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. I did a little bit of movie magic. I found a version on YouTube that I liked, and I used Camtasia and ripped the audio from the YouTube and put it onto a video of my text of the story. But then each of the checkpoints in this lesson give the students the opportunity to turn and talk to their neighbor and answer the questions and annotate the text. So I don't know how well you can see it from your seats there, but the little pop-out box here gives them directions for on their paper text to annotate. And what my students will do is I'll have them team up with a buddy or a triple, and they'll each have their own Chromebook, they'll each have their own set of headphones, and they'll all be signed into Edpuzzle on their own, but they'll synchronize when they will start watching the video. And so they'll start watching together, and then the checkpoint will pop up at about the same time. They take their headphones off, they turn and talk, they read the directions. I may even give them topics to talk about for, say, 3 minutes. And then once that time is over, and once they've accomplished the tasks that are there and the directions, then they put the headphones on and hit play again and continue with the lesson. Just be mindful of this, like a 10-minute video can turn into a 30-minute, if not longer, lesson with the turn and talks and annotation pieces. So again, shorter videos are better. Book Track Classroom is great too, and this is a little different. This is a soundtrack for books, so it's not just the audio of like narration of someone reading the audio book to you. It's also having layers of sound, like a movie soundtrack that goes with it. They have a studio version too, in which you can upload your own content and you can create your own book tracks, and they have an educational version that lets you manage the classroom. So you got read alouds you could do with students with Book Track Classroom. You can do a literature study, you can do narrative writing, you can also do informative and explanatory writing with them.
Hey Kate, really quick, I just want to point out that is 20 minute mark.
Okay, we're flying. I know, how are we doing in the room, Jer? Everybody okay?
I told them to raise their hand and just shout out something if they need help, so they're good.
Awesome. Like I said, I'm giving you everything here. If you want something more for flipped reading, for a great formative lesson, you can do insert learning, and this will turn any web page into a lesson in which you can insert your instruction, insights, discussion, and they have sample lessons. When you click on the link, it'll take you there. But this is what it'll look like on the page. It'll have a little sidebar open here on the side, where you can insert, say, here's a video to go with this information, and then you can also insert questions with it to check their understanding. Insert learning, I think, is good for formative. It does tie in with Google Classroom, which is nice, but my favorite tool for assessing reading is Actively Learn. And this is so wonderfully versatile. It's really not just reading, it's also writing, and it's also discussion within the text. So hopefully you guys are getting into that Actively Learn group that I made for you with the flipped learning, flipping the ELA. I do see, yay, there's people in there. Awesome. So I can follow along and see what you're up to. And if you answer the questions in Actively Learn, I will absolutely give you feedback and help you out with it. This is my favorite tool. They are wonderful to work with. They have a very versatile catalog. The workspace is good, and this is something that is the cornerstone of my classroom. You can also do something crazy where, like, I took PDFs of graphic novels and scanned excerpts. This is Gareth Hines. If anybody's going to NCTE in the fall, he's one of the keynote speakers. Gareth Hines has a great catalog, I guess you could call it, of text that he's turned into graphic novels. Here's an excerpt from Romeo and Juliet. I scanned just a section of one of the scenes. This is from Act 1, Scene 5. Put it into Actively Learn, inserted questions for it to check their understanding. So I didn't have to buy a class set of this when I was able to scan it as a colored PDF. So I always think about that too, like how can I hack and beat the budget by doing simple things like this. And I'm not publishing this on the web, so it's just for educational purposes, and I'm only using excerpts. So here's the big list of the EdTech tools to flip reading. You got that, Actively Learn, Google Classroom, Edpuzzle, Google Classroom and Docs, Insert Learning, and Docs. And again, use what tools and how it fits into the framework for you.